beautiful collectors and action figure fans, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, I am extremely excited to be bringing to you the brand new Funko Disney Afternoon collection of Baloo from Tailspin and Scrooge Mcduck from DuckTales. Now, for as long as I can possibly remember, I have always said with the reemergence of 80s pop culture, I don't know why a toy company hasn't revisited these characters and given us new updated action figures. Or in the case of Scrooge Mcduck, basically a figure for the very first time. But that's exactly what Funko here is doing. And I have my fingers massively crossed, hoping that we get more characters from these different series. Up first, we have Baloo, as I said, from Tailspin. You can see really nice clamshell. One thing that you notice that you do have different clamshells. You have a rounded one here going along with like this globe look, whereas Scrooge is more square shaped, but you got really nice card art. You got Disney Tailspin. Come around the back. You can see a nice image here of Baloo and Molly, and I totally forgot what this guy's name is. Now, there are no teaser images of other characters or other figures that they're going to be doing, so that's why I say that I hope Funko carries this on, because we don't know much past what we're getting right here. There are a couple other figures in this new line, first wave, I don't know what you want to call it. But we'll get to those in a bit. But so there's Baloo. And then Scrooge Mcduck, you can see, like I said, you have a square clamshell. And then you can also see some accessories. Baloo doesn't come with any, but you see Scrooge comes with a little money bag as well as his cane. Again, you got that nice card art there on the back. When you come around to the back of the package, you get more of an extended look at that card art. But you also see Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And I forgot what these little ball guys are, but those are little characters that appeared in an episode. Now, in this first series, like I said, we do have these two. We also are getting Chip and Dale from Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, as well as Darkwing Duck, which is probably my personal favorite. And that's where I really hope that Funko expands upon this. Obviously, I would love to give Huey, Dewey, and Louie. With Baloo, I would love to get a Kit Cloudraker. Darkwing, could get Goslin, you could get Launchpad. Launchpad could also be used here with DuckTales. But I would also really love some bad guys with kind of all of these. You know, maybe some of the Beagle Boys for Scrooge. Obviously, there's a whole bunch that you can use for Darkwing Duck. But we'll see how all that goes. And hopefully these sell well enough to kind of justify creating other figures. But for the packaging on these guys, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get them out here and see how cool they actually are. Alright guys, so here we have Baloo and Scrooge Mcduck from the new Funko Disney Afternoon collection, opened up and out of their packaging. And these guys really did turn out terrific. Now, starting off first with Baloo here. As a character in Tailspin, he originally got the majority of his kind of notoriety from the Jungle Book. In that he was a very carefree, happy-go-lucky, laid-back kind of guy, and they carried that over into Tailspin. In addition to bringing Baloo over, they brought a lot of the other characters from the Jungle Book into that new half-hour animated series, as well as gave us a couple other ones, but Baloo here is absolutely terrific. You can see that the coloring on here, and also Scrooge Mcduck, is very nicely done. Both of these guys literally look like they jumped right off of that screen. You can see that he's got a little bit darker of a gray color through the majority of his body, and then some lighter gray highlights like for his belly and his chest, down here on his feet, obviously in his nose area. And then you can see gorgeous coloring with his little bit stretched out, buttoned up shirt here. You got some nice gold buttons on there. You got some there in the top as well. Great coloring for his head. Like I said, you got that little lighter gray with the darker gray. His hat's beautifully colored. You got his nose. Can even see some little teeth. It's hard to see, but he's got a little bit of a tongue in there as well. Just really wonderful character. I mean, like I said, you can see that it's stretched out, so it's like his belly is a little bit too big. It is making his shirt kind of pull apart here at the buttons. Terrific. Now, setting him to the back. Now, as I talked about in the beginning, some of these characters actually did get toys when the series was originally on. And good old Optibotimus here actually has some of them. This is the original vintage toy, and you can see he came with a lot of accessories here, getting rid of some of these so that you can kind of see. One thing that you're noticing though is the color is a little bit different. The toy here didn't have a completely animation accurate look to it. I don't know if that was maybe because they designed this a little bit before the final cartoon aired, which is definitely a possibility, but you can see that it was tweaked. He's wearing a jacket in this with a scarf. He does have his hat, but you can see that he's got glasses on there. Predominantly, the colors are pretty much the same in terms of what's going on. I mean, obviously, you can see that he's got a little bit different shade here, but one thing that I do like about the original toy is he's a little bit bigger. BALOO was a bear. In every sense of the word, he was a bear. And I think that this scale here works a little bit better, especially if you're going to put him next to Scrooge Mcduck. I mean, Scrooge is kind of like a standard size figure, I guess, but I don't think that I guess that's not that bad when you consider that a lot of it is a hat. I just think that the scale with the old guy here works a little nicer, I think. Just because I do have the rest of the figures in the wave, or the line I should say. Here he is with Molly in Kit Cloudkicker, who was basically like Mowgli. He was BALOO's partner and everything, but you can see, I mean, BALOO is definitely smaller if you're going to kind of put these guys together, and I really was hoping to put this with these original vintage figures. It just, I don't think that it, by comparison to the original one, scales nearly as good. Just looking at all of them here, I just, while I love the look of the new one, I just like the size of this guy more. Who knows? That would be really kind of cool. The other thing that I really like is the original one did have some pretty decent articulation, but this is definitely improved. The head is on a bit of a ball joint, so you can see it looks up and down, kind of pivots side to side. He can rotate fully, so you get a nice range of motion with the head. The shoulders here move out about that far. You can also rotate them 360 degrees. Now, he doesn't have any rotation, which is kind of unfortunate. The original one, he could rotate at the wrist, but that was partly because his jacket came all the way down and the wrist was part of the jacket thing. So you can see that the shirt sleeve here is a little bit oval shaped, so you can't really put much of a rotation cut in the upper arm area, but you can get it to hinge forward and back. And what's interesting is it is kind of on a slight ratchet. Like I can feel 1, 2 little soft ratchets, nothing spectacular or anything, but good range of motion still with it. You can put the arms out there. I would love to get his jet. That was, or not jet, I forgot the name of it. Was it the Sea Duck? I think that's what it is. I don't remember. But that is a really hard vintage piece to get that I have tried getting for a number of years, and unfortunately it just rarely comes up for a decent price. He also does rotate here at the waist, and as you can see, that whole paint job does carry over nicely. Now his legs kind of aren't all that great. I mean, they are on this diagonal cut, so they rotate out. So I don't even want to say that he can sit, because in doing it, it creates that. So it's not a good range of motion, but based on the way that his body is shaped, at least they put something in there. But it really is kind of useless in terms of a pose or a posable sort of option for him. But really great figure. I mean, the detail is really nice. You can see he's got his little tail right there. You got little kind of fur pouches here in the back of his shoulder, even on the side here. Just absolutely terrific. Now, while BALOO did have an original vintage figure, they never made figures for DuckTales, which is strange to me, because that was kind of like the one that started it all. And Scrooge Mcduck had been around for a while. And DuckTales all sort of, at least the original one, kind of centered around him and his adventures and stuff. So it's strange that he never got a toy in any way. Now the difference, obviously the difference is plainly obvious between the look of them, but he also comes with a couple accessories. BALOO doesn't come with any. I don't know what you can have him come with. I mean, the original one, he came with a little backpack, got a little parachute, little binoculars and all that stuff. I don't know, but Scrooge here comes with a little tiny money bag, which is nicely sculpted. You got some nice paint on there with a little dollar sign. You got some gold kind of wrapped around here as a sort of tie thing. That's a great thing to come with. And then he does come with this cane, which he walked around with quite often. It's in this nice brownish plastic. You get a little bit silver of a tip on there. I kind of wish he came with his #1 dime. That would have been a cool accessory to include as well. I don't know what you could have done with it, but this is a great toy. Scrooge Mcduck is one of my favorite Disney characters, and I've waited for a figure of this guy for a number of years. It's really spectacular. Again, looks like he jumped right off of the screen. Gorgeous blue and red. Now this is, again, more designed after that original 80s cartoon, not the cartoon that's currently on, which is more designed off of like a comic look. This does have a slightly different kind of aesthetic, but you can see gorgeous top hat with the black and the red. Nice white for the rest of his body. You got the little puffs of, I guess, feathers coming out there. Great detail with the actual beak with the coloring. And then on the inside, you got a slightly different off color and then the color of his tongue. Blue eyes. I love how they actually got his little glasses right there, which is spectacular. That's a perfect little touch. Great detail with the rest of his little suit with the red, the blue, the little yellow dot right there. You got his little tail dangling right there, and you got his little badunkadunk sitting right there. His little, there's a name for these, but he's got little things covering his feet. Absolutely gorgeous looking figure. I mean, like I said, I have waited for DuckTale figures for a long time, and I actually know that there's a company that's coming out with a Huey, Dewey, and Louie that I have pre-ordered through Big Bad Toy Store. So if Funko doesn't release them, at least I know that I'm going to get them in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully they're not as big as Scrooge. I don't know. They're supposed to be coming out fairly soon, but I haven't got any shipping notifications yet. For his articulation, though, again, ball joint, so you get a nice up and down. You get a left, right, kind of pivots. A little bit more than BALOO did just because his neck is a little bit thinner. And then same thing here with the shoulders. You got the in and out, the rotation. He bends here at the elbow at little soft ratchet joints. He does rotate at the upper section of his body. So it's not the lower bit, kind of like his was. It is here in this upper section. And then the feet, these are a little bit different because they're not on an angle. Well, they're still on an angle, but the way that the knees are positioned, it rotates them. But the problem, though, that I do have is you kind of have to get them lined up perfectly so that he stands. Otherwise, his feet won't be perfectly touching the ground. And let me give you an example. So if you play with it, he's not going to stand. It creates a little bit of a ramp. So you kind of have to keep these perfectly positioned, and you'll feel it like as you're moving it around, that rotates, and then there's a little gap that it kind of sets in. That's where you basically want to keep his feet so that you can get him to stand perfectly. That's a little unfortunate, but it is much like BALOO's, that just the feet are what they are, and you're not going to get a lot of dynamic poses. The best pose that I've been able to pretty much do with him is him holding his little cane kind of like this and holding his little money bag. And honestly, I mean, that's perfectly fine for me. I don't need a lot of dynamic poses for these guys. I just love having them on my collection display shelf because they really are iconic characters, and definitely from my childhood, and I love them so much. I really do hope that they continue the line. Now, obviously, I do have a couple other ones. Here is the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Darkwing Duck is coming out with a figure. There's a variant of Darkwing Duck, which is Negaduck, so that'll be a nice one to have. I don't know if they're doing more of these. I really hope they continue with it. Like I said, I would love Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I would love a Molly and a Kit. Chip and Dale comes with Chip and Dale, and then, of course, Dale actually comes with Zipper, so all we would really need would be Gadget and Monty. You know, Darkwing could come with Launchpad, could come with Gosalyn. There's a whole bunch of bad guys that all of these figures could come with. So this is a line that I think could continue, and I really hope that Funko does continue it. I really don't know if they pay attention to any of my reviews. I know I've done some stuff for them, but when I reached out to them about doing these, I never got a reply, so I don't know how much they watch me. If they are, though, I hope they realize that they've gotten the attention of a lot of collectors such as myself. And this is a line of toys that I really hope they carry on. And this is a line of figures that I really hope they carry on with. So fingers crossed, and if you like these, buy them. Let them know that there is interest. I'm not 100% certain where you can get these other than places online such as Big Bad Toy Store. So as usual, what I'll do is I'll put a link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can check out availability on these guys and add them to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget, I would really appreciate it if you like this video to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Believe it or not, it does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, welcome. And be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you'll get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you'll never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, now more than ever it's important to make sure that you're getting those email notifications. We all know just how unreliable that YouTube subscription box is. So real quick, click on that little bell right below this video and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you're getting those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.